Anyone who ever met Kelcey Fike couldn't help but love her.
How would you describe Kelcey?
Kelcey was fun and silly and energetic.
And beautiful.
Yes, she was. She was. She took after her mother.
Randy Fike says you could always find his daughter in a crowd by her infectious laugh and a distinct goldfish tattoo on her back.
She was a free spirit, liked art, music, dance.
She was happy.
She was happy.
The petite 21-year-old was excited about a new job, and her mom, Mary Jo, says Kelcey had finally met the love of her life.
Tell me about her meeting Alex.
She fell very quickly for Alex. He's tall, very nice looking, good manners.
Alex Young was a reservist with the Nebraska National Guard.
Were they in love?
Absolutely.
After a little less than a year of dating, Alex gives Kelcey a diamond promise ring and vows to take care of her.
I had been teasing her about I wish that she'd hurry up because I really wanted some grandbabies.
To save money for a house, they temporarily move into a mobile home together.
It was an older trailer, and it very much looked like an older 70s trailer, but it was what they could afford.
It's hidden off the main drag of Kearney, Nebraska, not an affluent part of town, but for this young couple in love, it was their first little piece of paradise together.
But were you concerned at all about her safety?
Not really. I mean, looking back on it, maybe I should have been.
June 16th was like any normal day for Kelcey. She worked, came home around 5:30, and according to a neighbor, took her basset hound Dante for a walk around 9 that night. The only thing out of the ordinary that day, Alex was out of town.
Did Kelcey ever describe any fear about where she lived or the fact that Alex was away?
She was kind of lonely, but nothing that she felt scared.
Kelcey often stayed with her parents when Alex was away, but this time she was busy packing for an upcoming trip to see her best friend, Jamie Graham.
When is the last time you heard from Kelcey?
She called me that Monday night. She had told me she was planning on just getting organized, getting ready to leave.
In some ways, it's kind of a blessing you had a chance to talk to her.
Yes. And we ended the conversation the way we always did. Love you, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
But tomorrow didn't come.
Not for her.
Just a few hours later, at around 4:30, the mobile home erupts in a hellish ball of fire. Tragically, Kelcey's inside.
We received a phone call, a 911 call from two passerbyers. They were delivering papers, and they smelled smoke coming from the trailer court. They entered the trailer court and saw that one of the trailers was on fire.
Kearney police investigator Doug McCarty says the flames are so intense, neighbors are forced to stay back. The only thing they can do is scream for Kelcey and her dog Dante through the door. But the only sound they hear, a blaring fire alarm.
The rear of the trailer, the back bedroom, as we found out later, was on fire. It was fully engulfed, smoke was coming from it.
Sadly, by the time firefighters put out the flames, it's too late to save Kelcey. Her lifeless body found on the floor near the back bedroom.
Did it look like she was trying to get out?
Yeah, at first we thought that it was an accident and she tried to get out and this succumbed to the fire.
Was there a dog?
Yeah, her basset hound was found in the living room of the trailer and he was deceased.
And so they were not together?
They were not together.
Do you find that odd?
We thought it was a little odd. We weren't sure how the dog had died.
The nightmare begins for Kelcey's mom and dad with an early morning knock from a police officer and a chaplain.
And I opened the door and they said, "Do you have a daughter named Kelcey Fike?" And yeah. And they asked if she had a tattoo of a goldfish on her back, and she did.
He said, "We have a problem." They had said that there had been a fire at Kelcey's home and that she did not survive.
How did you take that news?
I kept telling him that they were wrong. They were wrong. It wasn't her. It wasn't her. But he kept saying, "Yes, it was. Yes, it was."
Because of the tattoo?
Because of the tattoo.
What did the police tell you initially?
That it was a fire and that she just was not able to get out of the trailer.
They suddenly remembered something Alex had told them about the mobile home when Kelcey first moved in, and now it haunts them.
It was an older mobile home, and Alex had said something about having a faulty furnace, and that was my first thought, that, you know, the furnace had caught on fire, but, you know, not the case.
In fact, it was far from the case. After taking a closer look at Kelcey's burned body, cops realize this isn't a death by fire, it's a murder.
It sounds, based on what you're saying, that she could have been killed 3 times over.
Yes.
Kelcey Fike's parents are beyond heartbroken.
When do you miss Kelcey the most?
Every single minute of the day.
Their beautiful 21-year-old daughter, once full of life, seemingly the innocent victim of a horrific mobile home fire.
What did they tell you?
They just said it had been a fire, and they found her deceased at about 5-something that morning.
And the dog, too.
Yes, and Dante in the living room.
Kelcey shared the little love nest with her boyfriend, Alex Young, but he happened to be out of town, so Kelcey was home alone when flames erupted in the master bedroom.
I knew Kelcey so well that I don't imagine or knew like what she would be going through and what she would have felt or if she would have screamed. It was terrible.
When rescuers arrive, the fire alarm is blaring, but the flames are so intense, there's no way to save Kelcey.
I accepted in a weird way that if there was a fire, she'd probably fallen asleep and not known what happened.
And that explanation made sense because Alex had previously complained about a faulty furnace. Still, investigator Doug McCarty says Kearney police wanted to be sure there was no foul play.
We went out, and our investigator went out to the scene and started taking pictures and working his way through it.
And right from the start, McCarty smells trouble.
Was the door locked?
No, both the front door and the back door were unlocked when we arrived.
Inside the burned-out trailer, investigators find Kelcey's body on the floor just outside the master bedroom.
She wasn't very badly burned.
So Kelcey's body wasn't charred?
No. She had some slight fire damage.
So investigators assume Kelcey died of smoke inhalation. That is, until they get a closer look. Then, sheer horror.
So what did you determine after examining her body?
She had bruising throughout her upper torso, her arms, her nose had been broken, her cheek, lip had been hit, and then she had blunt force trauma to the head. Then she had been manually strangled, and then a ligature had been used too.
A ligature?
Yes. The assailant struck her and then strangled her with his hands, or her hands, and then used a ligature to finish the homicide.
Cops now say Kelcey Fike was murdered and the mobile home torched to cover it up.
Was there an accelerant used?
There was not an accelerant used. But here's our point of origin. You can see the charring and how it was on this far wall.
But this isn't what killed Kelcey. The fire is not what killed her.
No, Kelcey was dead before the fire was set.
Was it even more horrible to learn that she had been murdered?
Yes. Yes. It was.
Who would do that to your daughter?
I have no idea.
Officer McCarty says they begin with the obvious person, her boyfriend, Alex Young.
Was the boyfriend ever a suspect?
We always look at the person that they're living with. Commonly, that's the suspect. We knew within probably an hour that he was gone and he was in maneuvers in Louisiana, so we had ruled him out pretty quickly.
Did your investigation uncover anyone who may have had it out for Kelcey?
We just never found anybody that disliked Kelcey. She was liked by all of her friends, and even the exes liked her.
Catching Kelcey's killer was proving to be more complicated than a typical homicide because of the fire damage.
A lot of our evidence was either washed away or burnt up.
So Kearney cops go back to old-fashioned police legwork, beginning with the obscure location of the mobile home.
She lived in a trailer park that's tucked away in between two businesses. Really hard to find unless you know where she lives.
Cops also found something else curious, that unlocked front door.
And what does that indicate anything?
We're not sure if that means that she knew that somebody was coming over or she just neglected to lock the door.
But the biggest clue may surround her beloved basset hound, Dante. Neighbors never heard him bark that night.
The dog was very possessive. He was very protective. He would bark at anybody that came up near the house, and he was a basset hound, so people knew when he was barking. And nobody heard him barking that night.
That is odd.
It seems odd to us.
With that, cops now wonder if Kelcey's killer was a friend of hers.
Her boyfriend was gone. It's a very secluded area. She was very careful about who she let in the house. The dog didn't bark. So I think it's probably somebody that she knew.
Do you think that Kelcey's murder was random or targeted?
I lean towards targeted because she was very attractive. She worked the mall. A lot of people came through there. Some weird person, perverted person could have targeted her.
But who? Finally, police catch a much-needed break.
We have surveillance video from across the street that shows a car leaving the trailer court.
Right there, headlights.
So you're pretty sure that that person is the killer?
We've never identified the car. We've never identified somebody leaving from there, so we think it probably was.
Two different angles, both time-stamped 4:39 a.m., approximately 10 minutes before the fire was reported.
Well, we're pretty sure it's a sedan. More likely it's dark in color.
The problem? The video is too far away to get a plate number or the make of the car.
I could see where this really helps police with the timeline, but it's very hard to make out that vehicle.
Cops still need more, and they get it. The coroner finds strange DNA on Kelcey's body.
Was she sexually assaulted?
We think that maybe they tried to sexually assault her and she fought. She put up a fight, and that they weren't able to accomplish what they were there for.
But what about the DNA? Could that lead cops to Kelcey's killer? Well, there was a problem there too. When firefighters used their high-pressure hoses to knock down the flames, the force of the water blended Kelcey's DNA with her possible killer's DNA.
So Kelcey's DNA is mixed with someone else's.
Right.
Investigator McCarty sent the samples to one of the most sophisticated crime labs in the country, hoping to find out who was in Kelcey's mobile home that terrible night.
And you're trying to separate them scientifically to see if you can get clear DNA.
So then we'd have an actual ability to match that DNA to our suspect.
Wow, that could actually be the break in this case.
It could. We're hopeful that it will be. We really want closure for the family.
For now, it's a painful waiting game.
I wake up every morning with the knowledge that my beautiful 21-year-old daughter was very brutally murdered. That's not going to change.
Until science can help solve Kelcey's murder mystery, her family hopes someone will come forward. Because they know somewhere out there, a killer is still on the loose.
This case needs to be solved, not for Kelcey, but for any future potential victims of this individual, so that the next person doesn't go through the pain and the terror that my Kelcey did. Sorry.